The rain had stopped an hour ago, but the streets still shimmered like broken mirrors. Streetlights flickered, stretching tall shadows across the empty sidewalk. 14-year-old Aaliyah took the long way home again. She always did. The school bus route was loud, messy, and full of eyes she didn't want on her. But this quiet road, it had secrets. And sometimes secrets whispered. Tonight, one screamed. A faint cry, short, sharp, desperate, cut through the wind. Aaliyah froze. It sounded like a child. Another cry followed. Then silence. Her heart hammered, but her feet moved on their own, pulling her toward an abandoned warehouse near the docks. Building B9, the one local kids joked, was haunted because nobody ever went in or out. But tonight, someone had. A broken neon bulb flickered above the entrance, and under that trembling light, a man was on his knees. Soaked suit, trembling hands, blood smeared across his shirt. And in his arms, two small children, both barely toddlers, both crying softly, like their throats were too tired to scream anymore. Aaliyah's whole body went cold. She should run. Anyone would run. But she didn't. "Do you need help?" she whispered, her voice shaking. The man lifted his head slowly. His eyes were clouded with exhaustion, fear, and something deeper, relief. "You came," he breathed. His voice was weak, but oddly calm. "Good. Good." Someone finally came. "Who are you?" Aaliyah asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he gently shifted the children toward her, like he was placing his entire life in her arms. "Promise me," he whispered, "you won't leave them." Aaliyah swallowed hard. I promise." Only then did the man reach into his pocket and hand her a silver-edged card. It gleamed faintly under the dying neon light. On the front, R. Zaman. On the back, a number, handwritten, hurried, important. "Call this," he said. "If your phone dies, there's another number inside that locker." Aaliyah, confused and panicking, pulled out her phone. 10% battery. Great. She dialed anyway. A crisp voice answered almost instantly. "Location?" Aaliyah stammered. East Dock, Sector 7. Warehouse B9. "Hold your position," the voice said. "Help is on the way." Help? But whose help? Before she could ask, headlights flashed outside. Not police lights, not an ambulance. Something too smooth, too quiet. A sleek black vehicle rolled to a stop. A woman stepped out, calm, focused, medical kit in hand. She looked like she'd been expecting this. But then someone else appeared. A tall man in a dark suit stood in the shadows near the entrance, his face hidden, his posture still. His shoes, expensive Italian leather. He lifted a phone and snapped a picture. Aaliyah's skin crawled. He wasn't here to help. He took one step forward and said in a low, icy voice, "This is only the beginning." Aaliyah stumbled back, one of the toddlers slipping slightly in her arms. Their tiny cry echoed to the warehouse. Fragile, frightened, human. The man smirked. Outside, the woman with the medical kit rushed forward. "We need the children now." "Keep them warm," she ordered. Lights from a drone buzzed overhead, scanning the area. Someone, somewhere, was watching this unfold in real time. Aaliyah looked down at the silver card, looked at the man bleeding on the floor, looked at the children holding onto her shirt with their tiny fists. She didn't know who they were. She didn't know what danger she had stepped into. But she knew one thing. She wasn't walking away. More cars pulled in. More shadows moved. And then Aaliyah's phone buzzed, 9% battery. A new message. A known number. One word. Now. Her heartbeat stopped, and the night shifted. Aaliyah's hands tightened around the two toddlers as a message flashed across her cracked phone screen. Now. Who sent it? Who knew she was here? Who was watching? Before she could react, the bleeding man, the one who had handed her the children, grabbed her wrist with surprising strength. His voice was barely a whisper. "Don't trust anyone in black." Aaliyah glanced up. Half the people surrounding the warehouse were wearing black. Suits, coats, gloves. Clean, silent, professional. Her stomach dropped. Who are they? She whispered. The man coughed, blood staining his lips. Not police. Not rescuers. They want the children. Why? He shook his head weakly. Run. When I say run, run. The woman with the medical kit knelt beside the bleeding man. Rizwan, stay with me. Hold pressure. Don't close your eyes. Rizwan. Zaman wasn't a random name. It was him. She checked his pulse, then turned to Aliyah. What are their names? Aliyah swallowed. I don't know. A sudden clap echoed from the shadows. Everyone froze. The tall man in the dark suit finally stepped forward. Lights from the drone caught the sharp angles of his face. He was in his 40s, cold eyes, clean-shaven, not even a hair out of place. He looked like he belonged in a boardroom, not an abandoned warehouse at midnight. Aliyah, he said calmly. Her blood ran cold. He knew her name. You have something that doesn't belong to you. Aliyah hugged the toddlers tighter. They whimpered softly, terrified. I don't even know who these kids are, she shouted. You don't need to know, the man replied. You just need to hand them over. The woman with the medical kit stood, blocking him. Sir, step back, she warned. These children need immediate medical attention. The man smiled casually. I wasn't talking to you. He pulled something from his coat. Not a gun, but a small device. Metal, sleek, with blinking blue lights. The medical woman stiffened. Where did you get that? The man ignored her and pressed a button. The warehouse doors behind him slammed shut like magnets locking. Aliyah jumped. Now they were trapped. The man stepped closer to her, slow and confident, like he already owned the room. Give me the children, he repeated. Rizwan coughed violently. Aliyah, listen to me. The man shot him a disgusted look. You should have stayed dead, Rizwan. Aliyah's heartbeat spiked. What do you want with them? She asked. The man tilted his head. Their bloodline. That made no sense. Bloodline? What bloodline? The toddlers clung to her shirt, crying. Aliyah took a step back. I'm not giving them to you. The man's calm smile dropped. For the first time, his voice hardened. Aliyah, I'm not asking. Rizwan suddenly shouted. Run. The medical woman grabbed Aliyah's arm. Go. Everything exploded at once. The drone lights cut out. Men in black reached for their concealed weapons. The toddlers screamed. The woman pulled Aliyah toward a back hallway. Rizwan collapsed. The dark-suited man shouted, Stop them. Aliyah sprinted down the hall, heart exploding, carrying one child while the woman carried the other. Behind them, footsteps thundered. Closer, closer, closer. The woman shoved open a metal door, a maintenance exit. Cold air hit them like a slap. Aliyah gasped for breath. They're right behind us, she cried. Keep running, the woman said. Don't look back. But Aliyah did look back, and what she saw froze her from the inside out. The tall man in the suit stepped into the doorway behind them. But he wasn't running. He was smiling, because he knew something she didn't. Aliyah turned forward just in time to see a massive black SUV screech into the alley, blocking their escape. Doors opened. More men in black stepped out. The woman whispered, terrified, Oh, God, they were waiting for us. Aliyah clutched the child against her chest. They were trapped, completely surrounded, and the man in the suit stepped slowly toward them, adjusting his cuffs like he had all the time in the world. You shouldn't have run, he said softly. Now it gets harder. Aliyah's phone buzzed in her pocket. Somehow, she still had 8% battery. A new message. Same unknown number. This time, it wasn't a word. It was an address and one sentence. Get them here if you want to live. Aliyah stared at the message, heart racing. Who was sending these? Friend? Enemy? Someone watching? Behind her, the man in black snapped his fingers. Take the children, he ordered. Aliyah tightened her grip. No. For the first time, the man's smile vanished completely. Then let's see, he whispered, who you really are. Aliyah didn't breathe. Nobody did. The alley was silent except for the low rumble of the black SUV's engine. The tall man in the suit stepped forward, shoes tapping softly on wet concrete. He raised one hand. The men surrounding the SUV moved instantly, like they were wired to him. "Take the children," he repeated. The woman beside Aaliyah whispered urgently, "Don't let them split you from the kids. No matter what." Aaliyah swallowed hard and whispered back, "I won't." The man in the suit smiled. "Oh, you will." He snapped his fingers. One of the guards lunged. Aaliyah spun, clutching the toddler. The woman shoved her sideways at the last second, holding the second child tight. "Move!" the woman shouted. Aaliyah ran, but two more guards cut her off. The suit man watched this calmly, hands in his pockets. "You're not a fighter, Aaliyah," he said. "You're a witness. That's all." "I'm not giving them to you," she shouted. He tilted his head, studying her. "You're braver than the reports suggested." "Reports?" Aaliyah froze for a second. Reports about her? How long had they known her name? How long had they been watching? The man smiled like he heard her thoughts. "You want to know why we chose you?" He stepped closer. "You were the only one who stopped." Her breath shook. "What are you talking about?" "You help strangers," he said simply. "You show up. You get involved." He took one more step. Now he was close enough to touch her. "That makes you predictable." Aaliyah's stomach dropped. The woman grabbed Aaliyah's hand and whispered, "They know your patterns. That's how he found you." Aaliyah's heart pounded. "Why these kids?" she demanded. "What do you want with them?" The man's expression hardened. "That isn't your concern. It is if you're trying to take them." The man leaned in just enough that only she could hear him. "They carry something their father stole from me." "Father?" Aaliyah's eyes widened. The man saw it. "Yes," he whispered. "You've already met him." Her blood turned cold. He meant Rizwan. Before she could speak, a radio crackled on one of the guards' belts. "Sir, we have movement on the east side." The man in the suit stiffened. "Who?" "Unknown." He turned his cold eyes back to Aaliyah. "You're not my only problem tonight." The woman pulled Aaliyah sharply. "Now. Go now." They ran, slipping behind a stack of shipping pallets. Shouts erupted behind them. "Don't lose them." Footsteps thundered. Aaliyah ducked into a narrow gap between two buildings, hugging the toddler to her chest. The woman squeezed in behind her, breathing hard. "Aaliyah," the woman whispered, "what's in your hand?" Aaliyah looked down. Her phone screen was still glowing. The address. The warning. "Get them here if you want to live." The woman stared at the screen. "That number, that's not random. You know it." Aaliyah whispered. The woman nodded slowly. "I've seen this number before. Years ago. It belongs to someone who protects people like them." "Who?" Aaliyah breathed. "A man who once worked with Rizwan before everything went wrong." Aaliyah's hands trembled. The woman met her eyes. "Aaliyah, if he's involved, then this is bigger than you think." "How big?" "Big enough that getting to that address." She swallowed. "Might be the only chance any of us have." Footsteps stopped right outside their hiding place. A guard's voice growled. "They're here somewhere. Spread out." Another voice answered. "Boss says if we lose them, don't bother coming back." Aaliyah pressed her hand over the toddler's mouth as he whimpered. The woman closed her eyes, steadying her breath. The guards kept searching. Closer, closer, right beside them. The man in the suit's voice echoed. "Aaliyah, come out now. This is your last warning." Aaliyah's heart thrashed painfully. She looked at the address one more time. If she stayed, they'd be taken. If she ran, she had one chance. One impossible chance. The woman leaned so close their foreheads almost touched. "When I say run," she whispered, "run to the street." Aaliyah nodded. The woman gripped her hand. "Run." She kicked a metal pipe, sending it crashing down the alley, loud as thunder. The guard spun. "There!" Aaliyah sprinted in the opposite direction, out of the gap, across the alley, past the rusted dumpsters. A guard shouted, "There! Grab her!" Aliyah ran faster than she ever had in her life. Her lungs burned, her vision blurred, her legs shook, but she didn't stop, not with the child crying in her arms, not with the dark-suited man shouting behind her, not with danger closing around her like a cage. She burst onto the street, headlights blinding her. A black car screeched to a stop inches from her. The back door swung open on its own. A deep voice from inside said, "Aliyah, get in." She froze. "How do you know my name?" "Because," the man said, "I'm the one who sent the message." Her heart slammed. "Who are you?" The man leaned forward. A hoodie, a scar across his jaw, eyes sharp as broken glass. "Someone who wants to keep you alive." Behind her, guards stormed out of the alley. "Aliyah," one yelled. "Stop." The man in the suit appeared, furious. "Don't you dare get in that car." Aliyah looked from the children, to the approaching men, to the stranger offering her escape. She had 1 second, one decision. She jumped into the car. The door slammed shut. Locked. The car roared forward as the man shouted, "Hold on." Aliyah clutched the toddler and spun toward him. "Tell me who you are." The man met her eyes. "I'm the person Rizwan trusted most," he said, "and the only one who knows why those children can't fall into the wrong hands." The city lights streaked past the windows as the black car tore down the street. Aliyah held the toddler tight, her chest heaving, heart slamming like a trapped bird. The woman from the alley wasn't with them. The other child wasn't with them. That thought nearly broke her. "Where is she?" Aliyah gasped. "Where's the other kid?" The man in the hoodie kept his eyes on the road, jaw clenched tight. "She'll meet us." "She knows what to do." "That's not an answer." Aliyah snapped. He finally looked at her, sharp, analyzing, not unkind, but deeply calculating. "She's not dead," he said, "and she's not lost. That's all you need to know right now." Aliyah hugged the toddler closer, shaking. The man drove fast but carefully, cutting through streets with practiced precision. He wasn't panicking. He wasn't hesitating. He'd done this before. Aliyah swallowed. "Who are you?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he turned down a darker road, away from traffic, away from lights. Aliyah tensed. "Look," she said, "if you work for that man in the suit." He cut her off, voice sharp. "If I worked for him, you'd already be dead." Silence filled the car. The toddler whimpered, clinging to Aliyah's hoodie. The man's voice softened, barely. "I'm not your enemy, Aliyah. I'm the one Rizwan contacted before he got shot." Aliyah's heart lurched. "You knew Rizwan?" "Knew him?" The man gave a humorless laugh. "He saved my life once, and I've been paying that debt ever since." Aliyah stared. "You said you were someone he trusted." "I was," the man said, "maybe the only one left." He pulled the car into a dim underground parking garage, weaving through pillars until they reached a rusted metal door tucked behind an old generator. No cameras, no lights, nothing that said anyone lived here. He killed the engine. "Get out," he said. "Bring the kid." Aliyah hesitated. "What if this is a trap?" He looked at her, dead serious. "Then it's the last trap you'll ever walk into. A beat later, but it's not. Come on." Reluctantly, she stepped out, clutching the toddler. The man pressed his hand to the rusted door. A hidden lock clicked open. The metal slid back, revealing a staircase lit by low blue LED strips, clean, modern. The opposite of the exterior. Aliyah stared. "What is this place?" "A safe house," he said. "One of Rizwan's. One nobody else knows about." They walked down the stairs into a wide underground room. Reinforced walls, monitors, medical supplies, food, bottled water. A bunker. Aliyah whispered, "How many safe houses does he have?" "Fewer than he thinks," the man muttered. "Someone's been selling them out for months." She stiffened. "The man in the suit." The man nodded. "His name is Cameron Halim. Corporate shark. Political connections. Zero conscience." Aliyah shivered. He said the children had something their father stole." The man's jaw tightened. "They do." Aaliyah hugged the toddler closer. Tell me? He exhaled slowly, like he was about to step over a line he'd sworn never to cross. Rizwan wasn't just a businessman, he said. He wasn't just rich or influential. Aaliyah frowned. What was he then? The man leaned against the bunker table, folding his arms. He was a whistleblower. Aaliyah blinked. A what? A man who discovered something dangerous, the stranger explained. Something Cameron Halim spent years hiding. Something that could destroy him. What kind of something? The man shook his head. You're not ready for the details. Aaliyah felt heat rise in her chest. People are trying to kill us. I think I deserve details. He studied her. You do, he admitted. And you'll get them, but not yet. Aaliyah scowled. Then tell me what the kids have to do with it. The man nodded toward the toddler in her arms. They're carrying something, he said. Something embedded in their identity from the moment they were born. Not physically, digitally. Aaliyah frowned. I don't understand. He stepped closer. Each child has a unique biometric pattern. Fingerprints, retinal scans, DNA markers. Rizwan encoded a key into those patterns. A key that unlocks evidence against Cameron. Aaliyah's breath caught. The babies are the password? Exactly. The toddler made a small sound, burying his face into her hoodie. And suddenly everything clicked in Aaliyah's mind. The kidnapping attempts, the photos, the violence, the obsession. They don't want the children, she whispered. They want what the children unlock. Correct, he said. And once Cameron has that, the kids become useless to him. Aaliyah felt sick. And Rizwan, she asked quietly, why did they shoot him? The man looked away. Because he was about to expose everything. Aaliyah swallowed. The toddler hiccuped. Aaliyah steadied herself. What's your name? She asked finally. The man paused and answered. Hamza. She repeated it. Hamza. Yes. He met her eyes. And now that you know my name, you should know something else. What? You're not just caught in this. He stepped closer, voice low. You're part of it now. Before she could respond, the bunker alarm blared. A red light flashed. A camera feed hissed alive. On the monitor, the woman from the alley, running, carrying the other child, bleeding, being chased. Aaliyah gasped. No. Hamza's face went stone cold. They found her, he whispered. Which means... Aaliyah finished his sentence, heart-dropping. They found us too. The bunker shook. A thunderous boom rippled through the walls. Hamza grabbed Aaliyah's hand. Get down! The lights flickered. Dust fell from the ceiling. Aaliyah clutched the toddler tight as Hamza yelled. They're breaching the safe house. Another explosion. Closer. Louder. Final. Hamza spun toward Aaliyah, eyes blazing. Listen to me, he said. This is the moment everything changes. The toddlers cried. The alarm screamed. The bunker door buckled under pressure. Hamza pointed to a narrow emergency escape hatch behind the servers. Take him, he said. Get to the tunnels. Don't stop, no matter what you hear. What about you? Aaliyah shouted. Hamza loaded a weapon from a hidden compartment. I'll hold them off. You can't fight them alone. He gave her a small, grim smile. I've been fighting them alone for years. The bunker door began to crack. Metal screeched. Aaliyah had 1 second to choose. Run, or stay and die. She stared at Hamza. He nodded once. Go, Aaliyah. The door burst inward, shadows pouring through. Aaliyah grabbed the toddler, sprinted toward the hatch, just as the power cut out. Pitch black. Gunfire erupted behind her, and the last thing she heard was Hamza shouting, Run. The bunker went pitch black. Gunshots cracked like lightning behind her. Screams. Shouting. Metal shattering under force. Aaliyah didn't look back. She couldn't look back. She held the toddler against her chest and dropped into the narrow escape hatch just as dust and sparks rained from the ceiling. The hatch slammed shut above her. Darkness swallowed everything. For a second, she just knelt there in the cramped metal tube, trembling, listening to the chaos above, boots pounding, Hamza yelling, a blast shaking the entire bunker. Then silence. A silence more terrifying than the explosions. The toddler whimpered. Aliyah forced her breath steady. "It's okay," she whispered, even though her voice cracked. "We're okay for now." A tiny blue emergency strip light flickered on inside the tunnel, enough to show steep metal rungs leading downward. She climbed. Down, down, down. Every clang of her shoe echoed like it could give her away. Finally, her feet hit wet concrete. A long underground corridor stretched ahead, dim and cold, the air thick with dust and the smell of old machinery. The city above was alive. Down here, it felt forgotten. Aliyah tightened her grip on the toddler and started walking. Her heartbeat filled the silence. Step, step, step. Her mind replayed the last few minutes. Hamza's shout, the breach, the explosion at the bunker door. Was he alive? Was the other child safe? A tear slid down her cheek before she could stop it, but she kept moving. Then, crack! A sharp sound echoed through the tunnel. Aliyah froze. Not a gunshot. Not footsteps. Something else. She pressed the toddler to her chest and moved slowly toward a corner, peeking around it, and nearly screamed. A dark figure stood at the far end of the tunnel, hunched, trembling. "Hello," Aliyah whispered. The figure flinched violently. Aliyah's breath caught. It wasn't a man. It was a woman from the alley, the one who protected them. Her left arm bled heavily, her sleeve torn, her breathing ragged. In her right arm, she still held a second toddler, limp, exhausted, but alive. Aliyah ran forward. "Oh my God, are you okay?" The woman pressed her back against the concrete wall, shaking. "I lost him for a second," she whispered. "But I made it. I made it to the tunnels." Aliyah reached out. "Give him to me." "You're hurt." "No." The woman shook her head. Her voice broke. "Something's wrong." Aliyah froze. "What do you mean?" The woman slid down the wall, legs buckling. "They injected him right before I ran." "Injected?" Aliyah's stomach twisted. "What did they inject him with?" The woman shook her head weakly. "I don't know." He cried once, then stopped. "He won't wake up." Aliyah's hand shook. She checked the toddler gently. Warm skin, shallow breathing, but limp as a rag doll. "We need help," Aliyah said. "We have to get him somewhere." The woman grabbed her wrist. "No, listen." Her eyes were wide with fear. "You can't go above ground. They're searching every street. They're scanning faces." "Scanning? How?" "They have drones. They have access to city grids. They have—" Her voice broke again. "They have everything." Aliyah swallowed hard. "Then what do we do?" The woman reached into her jacket pocket with shaky fingers, pulled out a folded slip of paper. "Hamza told me, if the bunker fell, if everything went wrong, to give you this." Aliyah unfolded it. It wasn't a map, not an address, just 2 words, Sector Gate. Aliyah stared. "What does that mean?" The woman forced herself upright. "It's real," she whispered. "Hidden for a reason. Hamza didn't tell me what's there. Just as the last safe path left. Where is it? Somewhere in these tunnels. But we don't have much time." Aliyah looked down at the 2 children, one awake and scared, one unconscious and possibly drugged. She looked back at the woman, who now could barely stand. Then she made a decision. "Come on," she said, voice low, determined. "I'm not losing anyone tonight." The woman nodded weakly, pushing off the wall. They walked deeper into the tunnels. Every flicker of light overhead made Aliyah jump. Every tiny echo felt like footsteps behind them. Minutes passed, or hours. Time didn't feel normal anymore. Suddenly, the toddler in Aliyah's arm pointed forward. "Door, door." Aliyah turned. There it was, a massive metal gate embedded into the concrete wall, half rusted, half reinforced, with strange markings carved into the frame. Not a normal city door, not something built by accident. Aliyah stepped closer. There was no keypad, no handle, no keyhole, just a circular indentation at chest height. The woman whispered. Hamza said, only someone with the children could open it. Aliyah's heart jumped. Biometric security? More than that. The woman swallowed. Try placing his hand there. The child. Aliyah lifted the toddler's small hand and pressed it gently into the circular indentation. For a moment, nothing. Then, whir. Ancient gears spun. Lights glowed. The ground trembled under her feet. The walls split open, sliding apart like a vault. Cold air rushed out. Deep mechanical, almost alive. Aliyah stepped back, stunned. Behind the gate was a staircase descending into pitch-black darkness. A metallic hum echoed from far below. Something powerful, something hidden. The woman nearly collapsed. Aliyah, you need to choose. Choose what? Aliyah whispered. Whether to trust what's down there. She nodded toward the darkness. Or go back up there. She pointed behind them. And get caught. Aliyah looked down the steps. The darkness felt endless. But behind her, she could already faintly hear footsteps and distant shouts echoing through the tunnels. They were coming. Fast. The toddler in her arm trembled. The unconscious child in the woman's arm barely breathed. Aliyah tightened her grip. No more running in circles. No more hiding behind walls that crumbled. No more waiting for someone else to save them. We go down, she said. The woman nodded. Together, carrying the two children, one breathing weakly, the other clinging to life. They stepped past a gate. The metal slid shut behind them, sealing them in darkness. Aliyah jerked her head up. The humming sound grew louder. And then, lights blinked on one by one along the walls, illuminating a long descending tunnel. Not built by the city. Not built by Cameron. Something older. Something hidden. Aliyah whispered, "What is this place?" The woman answered, the part Hamza never wanted to explain. Aliyah swallowed. At the bottom of the staircase was a massive round chamber, and at the far end, a single glass pod, large, metallic, locked. Inside it, a figure, a man, alive, unconscious. Aliyah stepped closer. Her blood ran cold. The man inside the pod looked exactly like Rizwan, but younger, uninjured, perfectly preserved. Aliyah stumbled backward. What I asked that? The woman whispered, trembling. The real reason Cameron wants the children. The lights dimmed, and the pod hissed open. The pod hissed open like a giant exhaling. Cold vapor spilled across the floor, swirling around Aliyah's shoes. Her heart pounded so violently she thought the whole chamber would hear it. The woman beside her froze mid-step, clutching the unconscious toddler tighter. The awake child whimpered in Aliyah's arms. Inside the pod, the man's eyes fluttered. Not dead, not frozen, not a hologram. Alive. Aliyah took a step back, her voice barely a whisper. Rizwan. The man inside opened his eyes fully, sharp, clear, aware, but not confused, not disoriented, not like someone waking up from years of sleep. He stepped out of the pod with steady feet, like he'd just been waiting. Aliyah grabbed a metal pipe from the ground and pointed it at him. You stay back. The man didn't flinch. He glanced at the toddlers, and something dark crossed his face. Not recognition, not relief, something else, something calculating. The woman whispered urgently, Aliyah, that is not Rizwan. Aliyah's throat tightened. But he looks almost like him, the woman said. Not exactly. Now that Aliyah looked closer, she saw it. Rizwan was older, tired eyes, lines of pain, a limp. This man, younger, taller, sharper cheekbones, eyes like ice. A prototype of Rizwan, a perfected version. Aliyah whispered, Who are you? The man tilted his head, studying her fear like it was something interesting. I've had many names, he said calmly, but the one that matters is the one Rizwan feared most. The toddler in Aliyah's arms clung to her hoodie. The woman stepped slightly in front of Aliyah, bleeding, shaking but defiant. You're not supposed to be awake, she said. The fail-safe wasn't meant to trigger yet. The The man smirked. Fail-safes only work when someone isn't trying to break them. He stepped into the light. And finally, Aaliyah saw it. A tiny brand-like marking behind his left ear. A serial code, not a birthmark, not a scar, a tag. Aaliyah's breath caught. You're engineered. The man spread his hands. Finally, someone who understands. The woman's face went pale. Aaliyah, we need to leave. But the stairs behind them had already sealed. Locked. Metal fuse shut. No escape. Aaliyah forced herself to speak. What do you want? The engineered man smiled. Not much. Only what was stolen from me. He looked at the toddlers again. It's in them, isn't it? Aaliyah whispered. He nodded. The key. The woman stepped forward. You'll never get it. Not from them. Not from her. He raised an eyebrow. You think I need all of them? No. His eyes locked onto Aaliyah. I only need one. Her heart stopped. No, she whispered. No, please. He stepped closer. You were there the night Rizwan fled, he said softly. You were at the right place at the perfect time, without even knowing it. Aaliyah's blood ran cold. What are you talking about? He leaned in just enough that she could hear the truth. You're not a random girl, Aaliyah. She stumbled back. You didn't find them, he said. They found you. Aaliyah shook her head violently. No, stop. Oh, yes, he said. Didn't you ever wonder why they trusted you instantly? Why they reacted to your presence? Why Cameron's men were told to capture you if the children weren't with you? Aaliyah couldn't breathe. What are you saying? She whispered. The woman's eyes filled with dread. No, she breathed. It can't be. The engineered man smiled wider. You're part of the key, Aaliyah. Her heart pounded in her ears. What? He pointed lazily at her face. Your biometrics, he said. Your DNA pattern. Your retinal signature. Aaliyah's knees weakened. Rizwan encoded the key into 3 pieces. The man said. 1 in each child, and 1 in the last person he trusted. Aaliyah's voice cracked. No, he didn't even know me. He knew of you, the man corrected. He watched you for months. He chose you. Aaliyah shook her head. Chosen for what? The man stepped forward. For unlocking everything he tried to hide from me. Aaliyah backed up, hitting the cold wall. The toddler cried harder. The unconscious one's breathing weakened. The woman grabbed Aaliyah's arm. Aaliyah, look at me. He needs you to activate the sequence. If he gets you, he wins. Aaliyah whispered. What happens if he wins? The man answered. The world loses something priceless. Aaliyah swallowed. And what do I lose? He smiled cold and final. Your freedom. A loud metallic clang shook the chamber. The engineer man turned his head sharply. Then another sound. Boom, boom, boom. Someone was breaking through the sealed staircase door. The woman's eyes lit with hope. They're coming. Aaliyah whispered. Hamza. The man's calm expression cracked for the first time. He hissed. That pest is still alive? A heavy thud echoed from above. The metal groaned. The engineered man cursed under his breath. This is too soon. I'm not finished with you. He stepped toward Aaliyah. The woman jumped between them. Run. He slammed her aside with one motion. Aaliyah screamed. He reached for her wrist. Boom. The staircase door blew open. A massive shockwave knocked everyone to ground. Smoke filled the chamber. Aaliyah coughed, eyes burning. Through the fog, a silhouette appeared at the top of the stairs. Hamza, barely standing, covered in blood, holding a weapon in one hand and something else in the other. A small metallic cylinder with blinking lights. A dead man switch. Hamza's voice was low, shaking but furious. Step away from the girl. The engineered man straightened. You again, he said. How many times must I kill you? Hamza smiled weakly. As many as it takes. The chamber hummed. The toddlers cried. The woman crawled toward Aaliyah. And Aaliyah stared at Hamza. Tears blurred her vision. Hamza, what is that? He tightened his grip on the device. This? He flicked the switch halfway. The lights blinked faster. It's a failsafe. The engineered man's eyes widened. You wouldn't dare. Hamza coughed blood, but his smile stayed. Aliyah, she jerked. Yes. If he gets you, if he gets the children, he nodded at the device. This is the only way to stop him. Aliyah's heart broke. No, Hamza, and oh, don't. The engineered man lunged. Hamza pressed the trigger. The chamber exploded in blinding white light. The chamber disappeared. The blast swallowed everything. Air, sound, gravity, as if the world itself had been erased in a single breath of white fire. Aliyah felt nothing, saw nothing, heard nothing. Just light, endless, aching light. Then, thump, her body hit the ground hard. Stone, cold, real. The world snapped back in pieces. A ringing in her ears. Dust falling like snow. A baby crying somewhere near her. Her own heartbeat, too fast, too loud. Aliyah forced her eyes open. The chamber was unrecognizable. Walls cracked, metal twisted, smoke choking the air. The pod was shattered. Sparks rained from the ceiling. But the worst part, Hamza was gone. Hamza. Hamza. Aliyah screamed, coughing. No answer. Only the echo of her own voice bouncing off broken stone. Her chest tightened. He sacrificed himself. He really sacrificed himself. Hamza, she whispered, tears blurring her eyes. Why did you do that? A faint groan pulled her back to reality. The injured woman. Aliyah crawled toward her. She was half buried under a beam, bleeding badly. The unconscious toddler still pressed her chest. Alive? Barely. Aliyah, the woman gasped. You're alive. You too, Aliyah sobbed. Hold on. Don't move. I'll lift this. No. The woman grabbed her wrist. Her hand was cold. Too cold. Listen to me. We don't have much time. No, Aliyah said. Stop talking like that. We're all getting out. The woman gave a small, painful smile. You're a good girl, too good for this. Aliyah swallowed the lump in her throat. Behind her, a crunch, a footstep. Aliyah froze. No, no, no. He couldn't be alive. He couldn't. A tall shadow stepped through the smoke. Slowly, steadily, unaffected. The engineered man. His clothes burned. Skin cut open. Face bruised. But alive. Alive. Impossible. He wiped dust from his cheek, as if it were nothing. You really thought that would kill me? He asked calmly. Hamza's explosive device smoked at his feet. Aliyah's heart shattered. Hamza tried, the engineered man said. I admired the effort. Truly. Aliyah stood, trembling with fury. You're a monster. He tilted his head. No, I'm the result of one. He took another step forward. Aliyah positioned herself between him and the woman and child. You're not getting them, she growled. He raised an eyebrow. Aliyah, you don't understand. I don't want them. He pointed at her chest. I want you. Her stomach dropped. No. He walked closer, unbothered by the destruction around him. You are the missing sequence, he said softly. The final biometric piece. Aliyah shook her head violently. It's not true. You're lying. Look around you, he said. Everything Rizwan built, everything I built, was to find you, prepare you, trap you. Her heart stopped. You're lying, she whispered again. He smiled with pity. No, Aliyah, I'm telling you the one truth no one ever dared to say aloud. He leaned closer. Without your DNA, none of the evidence can be unlocked. Aliyah's breath hitched. Her vision blurred. Her legs weakened. That's why you were found, he said. Not by accident, but by design. Aliyah didn't move. Couldn't move. Behind her, the woman whispered weakly. Aliyah, don't listen. Don't believe him. But his voice cut through the air like a blade. You were chosen before you were born. Aliyah snapped. Shut up. She grabbed a jagged metal pipe from the ground and swung it with everything she had. He caught it with one hand. Effortless. His expression didn't change. You're angry, he said. Good. Anger sharpens a mind. He wrenched the pipe away and tossed it aside like a toy. Aaliyah stumbled back. The toddler in her arms began to cry harder. The engineered man's eyes hardened. "Come with me," he said, "or they die." Aaliyah's blood ran cold. He raised 2 fingers. A signal. Footsteps echoed behind him. 3 more engineered operatives emerged from the smoke. Identical in posture, identical in expression. Aaliyah's heart dropped. "We're surrounded," she whispered. The woman reached for Aaliyah's ankle. "Run," she whispered desperately. "Take the babies. Run." Aaliyah shook her head, tears falling freely now. "I can't leave you." "You must." The engineered man snapped his fingers. "Bring her," he ordered. One of the operatives stepped forward, and the chamber lights suddenly flickered. The ground trembled. A new alarm blared. The engineered man frowned. "What now?" Aaliyah looked up at the ceiling. Cracks spread like lightning. Dust rained. The woman gasped. "Sector gate is collapsing." Aaliyah's pulse surged. She looked at the twins, at the woman, at the collapsing chamber, at the man reaching for her. One chance. 1 second. One choice. She grabbed both toddlers tightly, turned, and ran. "Stop her," the engineer man shouted. Operatives lunged. Aaliyah sprinted toward the far tunnel as the ceiling caved behind her. Chunks of concrete slammed down inches away. She didn't look back. Not at the falling chamber. Not at the woman. Not at the monster screaming her name. Just forward. Just away. Just alive. She slipped through a collapsing crack in a wall, and the entire chamber behind her caved in with a thunderous roar. Dust shot through the tunnel like a storm. The force knocked her to her knees, but she shielded both toddlers with her own body. Silence followed. Heavy, final. Aaliyah lay there trembling. Alive. The toddlers alive. But Hamza? The woman? Gone. She sobbed silently. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Then, a faint vibration. Her phone, barely powered. Screen cracked. Signal weak. One unread message. Unknown number. She opened it with shaking hands. "If you survived, go to the surface. Trust no one. H." Aaliyah stared. "H." Hamza? Impossible. Impossible. But if he sent this, if he was alive, then she wasn't alone. She wiped her face, took a shaking breath, and pulled both children closer. "Okay," she whispered. "We're going. We're going to make it." She stood and began walking toward the faint glimmer of daylight at the end of the tunnel, not knowing that someone was already waiting for her above, watching, tracking, smiling. Her real nightmare wasn't underground. It was waiting outside. The tunnel sloped upward, the air growing warmer, brighter, louder with every step. Aaliyah's legs trembled, her lungs stung, but she held both toddlers tight, one awake and crying, the other limp and eerily silent. She kept whispering, "Just a little more, just a little more." Finally, she reached a rusted ladder leading to a circular metal hatch. Faint sunlight leaked around the edges. The surface. Freedom, or something pretending to be. Aaliyah climbed carefully, balancing the toddler on her arm. Each rung rattled, threatening to give way. The unconscious child remained strapped to her with a torn piece of fabric she tied like a sling. At the top, she pushed. The hatch didn't budge. Her heart dropped. "No, no, please, open." She pushed harder with her shoulder, bracing her foot. Clank. The hatch jerked. Once. Twice. Then slid open. A rush of clean air hit her face. Aaliyah climbed out into blinding light, but what she saw made her chest tighten with fear and confusion. She wasn't in a street. She wasn't downtown. She wasn't even in a populated area. She was in an abandoned construction yard on the outskirts of the city. Concrete skeletons of unfinished buildings surrounding her like broken teeth. No workers. No noise. No people. Silent. Too silent. The hatch slammed shut behind her as she stepped forward, clutching both children. A voice drifted through the empty lot. "You made it out. Good." Aaliyah froze. A tall figure stepped from behind a concrete pillar. She blinked. No, it wasn't the engineered man. It wasn't a guard. It wasn't a stranger. It was someone Aliyah remembered from school. Mr. Halim, her substitute history teacher. Soft voice, quiet smile, the kind of teacher nobody noticed. Her voice cracked. Sir? He stopped about 10 feet away, hands raised in a calm, harmless gesture. Don't be afraid, Aliyah. Her throat tightened. He knew her name. He was waiting for her. Here. Her stomach twisted. Something was very, very wrong. Mr. Halim, she whispered, stepping back. What are you doing here? He smiled gently. I'm here to help you. Aliyah hugged the toddlers tighter. Help me, she repeated. How do you even know I'm here? He took one slow step forward. Because I've been watching you since the night this all started. Aliyah's skin crawled. Why? His smile didn't change. Because someone needed to make sure you reached the surface alive. Aliyah felt her breath catch. Who sent you? She asked. Silence. Then he reached into his coat pocket. Aliyah flinched, ready to run, but he pulled out a phone. A familiar phone. Her pulse spiked. Aliyah whispered, Is that the device that's been sending you messages? He nodded. Yes. Aliyah's knees wobbled. You're the one who wrote them? He nodded again. Aliyah staggered back a step, stunned. You told me where to go, she whispered. You helped me escape. You guided me through the tunnels. Yes. Why? He finally let the smile fade. Because Cameron Halim has been looking for you, he said softly. And for the children. Aliyah froze. Cameron Halim, the man in the suit, her nightmare. Aliyah stared at Mr. Halim, horrified. You know him? He stepped even closer. I should, he said quietly. He's my brother. The world spun. No way. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't get angry. He just kept talking in that calm, steady tone teachers use when explaining something terrible. You've met him, he said. You've survived him. But you don't understand him. Aliyah stumbled backward. You're one of them, she whispered. You're from the same family. I'm not him, Mr. Halim said sharply. I've been trying to stop him for years. Aliyah hugged the toddlers again. She didn't trust him. She couldn't. If you're trying to stop him, she said, why did you hide everything? Why didn't you call the police? Why send anonymous messages? He sighed. Aliyah, Cameron controls the police, the hospitals, the city cameras, the private security grid, everything. He let the weight of those words sink in. There was no one else left to help you. Aliyah didn't move. Is Hamza alive? She asked. Mr. Halim looked at her for a long moment. I don't know, he said finally, but I know this. He fought to give you a chance. Aliyah's eyes burned. And now it's my turn to protect you. He extended a hand. Come with me, quickly, before Cameron's men find this location. Aliyah stared at his hand, her heartbeat thundering, her instincts screaming, her mind torn between doubt and desperation. He lowered his voice. Aliyah, if I want to take the children, I would have done it already. Aliyah hesitated. Everything in her life had changed in 24 hours. She'd been underground in a secret bunker, chased by engineered soldiers, chosen as part of a biometric key she barely understood. Now her teacher, her quiet, harmless teacher, was standing here claiming to be her only protector. Why me? She whispered. Why is everyone after me? Mr. Halim's expression softened. That answer is coming, he said, and it's bigger than you think. He gestured to the edge of the lot. But we can't stay here. Aliyah took one slow step toward him, then stopped. She felt something strange in the air. A shift, a tension, a reflection caught her eye, a flicker of glass. High above, Aliyah jerked her head up the side of the unfinished building, where someone stood on the 6th floor, watching. A drone hovered beside him. A laser landed on Aliyah's shoe. Mr. Halim's face drained of color. No, he whispered. They found us. Aliyah clutched the toddlers. What do we do? Mr. Halim didn't hesitate. Run. A bullet cracked through the air. Concrete exploded beside them. Aliyah screamed and sprinted. More shots. More dust. Heavy footsteps from multiple directions. They're surrounding us. Aliyah cried. Mr. Halim grabbed her arm and pulled her behind an overturned cement mixer. He spoke fast, breathless. Aliyah, listen to me. How are they here already? Because Cameron isn't just tracking you. Aliyah blinked. What? He's tracking the biometric key. And that key isn't just in the children. Aliyah froze. What do you mean? Mr. Halim swallowed hard. His eyes darkened, full of sorrow. Aliyah, he spoke slowly, painfully. Part of the key is inside you. Aliyah's breath caught. No, that can't be true. It is... Another bullet tore into the mixer. They're not trying to kill you, he whispered. They're trying to capture you. Aliyah shook her head. No, why? Mr. Halim looked her straight in the eyes. Because you're not just part of the key. He inhaled sharply. You're the master key. Aliyah's knees buckled. The world tilted. Before she could speak, a voice boomed from a loudspeaker above. A voice she knew too well. Cameron Halim. Cold. Calm. Victorious. Aliyah, he said, come quietly. The drone light centered on her chest. Or everyone you love dies. The loudspeaker crackled again. Cameron Halim's voice sliced through the construction yard. Aliyah, I am done waiting. A drone spotlight locked onto her face. Mr. Halim grabbed her wrist. Don't move, he whispered. Aliyah's pulse thundered in her ears. Her whole body shook, but she held the children tighter. Another voice boomed, closer this time. You have 10 seconds to step into the open. Aliyah swallowed hard. Why does he want me? She whispered. Behind them, bullets punched into concrete. Mr. Halim pulled her deeper behind cover. Aliyah, he said quickly, breath shaky, there's something you were never told about yourself. I don't want secrets, she cried. I want answers. He looked at her with eyes full of fear and guilt. You are the final sequence in the biometric key. You're not just part of it. You are the only living person who can unlock the vault beneath the city. What vault? The vault your father built. Aliyah froze. My father? He nodded. Before he died, your father created a system. One that only activates with 3 components. The 2 newborns. And you. A bullet ricocheted so close it sliced a strand of her hair. Aliyah screamed. Cameron's voice boomed again. 5 seconds. Mr. Halim leaned in fast. Aliyah, if Cameron gets you, he gets a vault. What's inside? His face tightened. Something that should never be opened. Something your father died protecting. Aliyah felt dizzy. My father died? Mr. Halim flinched. I'm sorry. I should have told you earlier. 4. Cameron's countdown made her stomach flip. Tears stung her eyes. And Hamza, she whispered. Is he alive? Mr. Halim swallowed hard. Aliyah, I don't know. 3. Aliyah pressed a toddler to her chest. SIR, tell me the truth, she begged. Why me? Why was I chosen? Why am I the key? Mr. Halim finally said it. Because your father injected you with a genetic cipher when you were a baby. Your body carries a biological code, something no one else has. Aliyah stared at him in horror. Why would he do that to me? To keep the vault out of Cameron's hands. Because only you can activate it, and only you can destroy it. 2. Aliyah's legs trembled. Her father had turned her into a weapon, a living lock, a living threat. I'm just a girl, she whispered. I can't be all of this. 1. Cameron shouted. Step forward, Aliyah. Silence. Dust swirled through the air. The toddlers cried. A drone beeped, adjusting its aim. Mr. Halim whispered, if they capture you, everything ends. The city, the children, your mother, everyone. Aliyah clenched her fists. No, she whispered. I won't let him take me. Mr. Halim grabbed her shoulders. Then run. But before she could move, a black SUV crashed through the side gate, tires screaming. Aliyah gasped. The door flew open. and a man she never expected to see again stepped out, bleeding, bruised, barely standing, but alive. "Aaliyah!" he shouted. Her breath caught, her vision blurred. It was Hamza. Her world flipped upside down. He was alive. Alive. Before she could run to him, Cameron's voice roared, "Capture him." Several men turned their rifles toward Hamza. Aaliyah screamed, "Hamza, get back!" But he didn't. He stepped forward, shoulders squared, eyes wild with determination. "Aaliyah," he shouted, "on my count, run to me." Mr. Halim hissed, "No. If you go to him, they'll shoot you both." A drone descended toward Hamza. Cameron's soldiers advanced. Hamza ignored them all. He locked eyes with her. "I'm not letting them take you," he said. "Not again." Aaliyah burst into tears. Hamza, how did you even survive?" "Doesn't matter." He raised something in his hand. A detonator. Aaliyah's eyes widened. "Hamza, no." But he nodded fiercely. "This whole yard is rigged. I bought you a chance. Take it." Aaliyah sobbed. He yelled, "3." Cameron screamed, "Stop him." But Hamza kept counting. 2. A drone swooped low, targeting him. "Hamza!" Aaliyah cried. He smiled one last time through bloody lips. 1. And everything exploded. Concrete, steel, drones, scaffolding, everything. A fireball swallowed half the yard. The shockwave threw Aaliyah backward into darkness. As she blacked out, she heard one last voice calling her name, one last whisper. "Aaliyah, stay awake. Don't you dare leave me." Hamza's voice. Still alive, still fighting, still reaching for her. Aaliyah woke to dust drifting through sunlight. Her ears rang. Her vision swam. Her whole body screamed with pain. The explosion had turned the construction yard into a wasteland of twisted steel and burning debris. Aaliyah coughed, sitting up with a jerk. Hamza?" Her voice cracked. Smoke rolled across the ruined ground. She saw movement. Someone dragging themselves across broken concrete, limping, coughing. "Hamza?" she whispered again. But it wasn't him. It was Mr. Halim, his arm bleeding, limping toward her with a surviving toddler in his arms. He collapsed beside her. "Ali, we have to move now." She grabbed his shirt. "Hamza, where's he?" Mr. Halim looked away. Cameron's men pulled him out of the blast. "They took him." Her chest collapsed. No, I can't lose him again." "Aaliyah," he rasped, gripping her trembling hands. "They took him for a reason. They think he knows where you'll go next." "Where?" she cried. "To the vault." Aaliyah felt her whole world freeze. "The vault under the city," she whispered. "The one only I can open." He nodded. "Cameron wants you alive because you're the last piece of the key." Aaliyah, clench your fists. "No, I'm done running. I'm done being hunted. If Cameron wants me, I'll go to him, but on MY terms." Mr. Halim winced, shaking his head. "Aaliyah, if you go to the vault, there's no coming back." She stood anyway. "Then that's where this ends." The entrance. The vault wasn't in a bank, not in a lab. It was beneath the oldest subway station in the city, behind a rusted maintenance door nobody used anymore. The toddler cried softly in her arms as she climbed down into darkness. Steps descended for maybe 200 feet. At the bottom, a steel door as tall as a building. Glowing lines pulsed across its metal surface, like breathing veins. Symbols carved in spirals. This was no ordinary vault. It was alive. Aaliyah whispered, "What did my father build?" Mr. Halim limped beside her, pale with fear. "A system that should never be opened." Aaliyah swallowed. "Then why did he make me the key?" He looked at her slowly. "Because he trusted you, not the world, to know whether it should stay sealed or be destroyed." Aaliyah's breath hitched. Her entire life, her blood, her fear, her nightmares, all led here. She stepped closer. The vault hummed, sensing her presence. Then a voice echoed from the darkness behind her. "A perfect moment, isn't it?" Aaliyah spun around. Cameron Halim emerged. Clean suit, cold eyes, unharmed. Behind him, 2 guards dragged someone forward. H. Hamza. He looked beaten, barely conscious, bleeding from his temple. Let him go. Aliyah screamed. Cameron smiled faintly. That depends on you. Hamza coughed, trying to speak. Aliyah, don't open it. Cameron shoved him to the ground. You don't get to choose, boy. Aliyah trembled with rage. What's inside this vault? Cameron stepped toward the glowing door. Your father's last invention. A power source that could run a city. Or end one. Her stomach twisted. And you want to use it? Cameron smiled. Oh no, I want to sell it. Aliyah's knees weakened. Money, power, control. Everything her father feared. Everything she hated. Cameron gestured toward the vault like a magician about to reveal his final trick. Open it, Aliyah, or Hamza dies. And the child dies. And everyone who ever helped you dies. Aliyah's heart shattered. She looked at Hamza, bleeding, shaking, trying to stand. Aliyah, he whispered, you're more than a key. You're the lock, too. Tears filled her eyes. There was no safe choice, only a right one. She stepped toward the vault. Cameron's guards raised their weapons. Mr. Halim shook his head desperately. Aliyah, don't! But she pressed her palm to the door anyway. The surface lit up. Heat surged through her arm. The symbols glowed brighter. And a soft voice whispered from inside the vault. Her father's voice. Aliyah, if you're hearing this, you must choose. Her breath caught. Her father had left a message inside the vault. Cameron froze. What is that? Aliyah focused on the voice vibrating in her bones. This power must never fall into the wrong hands. I built a fail-safe. Only you can activate it. Cameron screamed. Step away from the door. She didn't. Light wrapped around her hand like wildfire. Her father's voice grew louder. Aliyah, if you choose to open the vault, the world changes forever. But if you choose the fail-safe, Aliyah's jaw clenched. The light pulsed. The vault will collapse. Everything in it gone forever. Cameron lunged forward. No! Guards raised their guns. Hamza shouted. Aliyah hit the fail-safe. Aliyah closed her eyes. In her heart, she saw her father telling stories. Hamza risking his life. The children she swore to protect. The city that Cameron wanted to control. She knew her choice. She whispered, I'm ending this. Her hand slid to the second glowing pattern. The fail-safe. The vault screamed. Metal split. Ground shook. Symbols cracked like shattering glass. Cameron yelled, You stupid girl, no, no, no. But it was too late. The vault imploded. A cyclone of white light erupted outward. Cameron and his guard were thrown back like rag dolls. Aliyah shielded the toddler with her body. Hamza crawled toward her, grabbing her hand. Aliyah, hold on. The entire underground chamber collapsed. Steel, concrete, the vault, everything her father built, gone. Cameron's empire, destroyed by a 9-year-old girl who refused to be a weapon. Epilogue, 6 months later. Aliyah sat on a park bench, feeding pigeons. Hamza sat beside her, arm wrapped in a sling, smiling softly. The toddlers played nearby. The city was safe. The vault was gone. Cameron had vanished, most likely dead under the rubble. Mr. Halim visited sometimes, limping but alive. But Aliyah, she was no longer running, no longer hunted, no longer a key. Hamza nudged her. You did it, you know. Aliyah looked up. Did what? You saved everyone. She smiled a little. No, she whispered. I just chose who I wanted to be. Hamza squeezed her hand. And who is that? Aliyah looked at the sky. Someone free. The wind blew gently. A chapter closed. A new one waiting.